Welcome back to the series where we break down each team's NFL schedule and give you my thoughts and predictions of how they're going to do in the 2023 season. First episode, we started off with the Buffalo Bills. Go check that out if you've not seen that. And now starting off with the second episode, sticking with the AFC East, is the New York Jets, which is the most fascinating one out of all of them because of the big name, or I should say new name there, Aaron Rodgers. Of course, it took a long time to get him there. A lot of back and forth between Aaron Rodgers' side and also the Packers and Jets trying to figure out compensation. But ultimately, it got done, and now he's officially a Jet. Very, in terms of it for a Jets fan, very exciting. Best quarterback they had in a long time. How a lot better than Zach Wilson. So that's already there a win. Yeah, it's been very interesting to see how they do this season, but they'll no doubt be very competitive, especially with that elite defense and now having a great quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. They're going to be a tough team. So starting off with the schedule, we have Buffalo Bills Week 1. This is the 9/11 anniversary, Monday Night Football. If you've seen my Bills video, you already know the answers for Week 1 and Week 11. But if you haven't, for Week 1, I do have the Jets winning this one. And the simple fact of, this is the reason I gave in the Bills video, I think it's going to take a while for the Bills to kind of figure out the offense. No doubt, in my opinion, as a Bills fan, they're going to be trying to retool that offense, especially trying to implement Dalton Kincaid in the first round. Also with Cyrus Torrence, who I believe will be, of course, an immediate starter. At least I hope he is. But more so just Dalton Kincaid. I think they're going to have a tough time, I think, starting off with just trying to figure out two tight end sets, especially since you paid big money for Dawson Knox in the previous offseason. And now drafting Dalton Kincaid. I know he was the best player available, best pure catcher that a lot of people believe in the draft. But I still think they're going to struggle with that. And also try and, stop, kind of slow down with the vertical offense they had last year and try and run the football. As of right now, they have a ton of people in the backfield. James Cook, Latavius Murray, Damon Harris, Nyheim Hines, though he'll probably be more so special teams. It's a lot to figure out. I'm not saying all those guys are going to be on the team, but it's a lot of pieces to really figure out and trying to change the mindset of the offense that it's been in the last few seasons. So for this one, I do have the Jets stealing Week 1 from Buffalo. Though, once again, I can definitely see going the other way with Aaron Rodgers struggling with the Jets. When Matt LaFleur first got there, wasn't the best. Last season, when he had a whole new receiving core, bunch of rookie receivers, struggled a little bit. So being on an entirely new team, though he has familiar faces on the team, Randall Cobb, Allen Lazard, I think it's still going to take him a little bit to get adjusted with the Jets. But for this one, I do have the Jets winning Week 1. We head to Week 2, which is, if I'm mistaken, an away game. For away against Dallas. I do have Dallas winning this one. Going back to the simple fact of what I just said for the Week 1, I do think there are going to be some growing pains with Aaron Rodgers. Even though people, you always make fun of Dallas. Dallas is still a good team. I know, especially for the running back position, I think they really upgraded there, getting rid of Zeke Elliott. Elliott the last few seasons really stealing a lot of carries from Tony Pollard. I think with Tony Pollard officially being the full-time starter, you've seen how they were in the offense. Very explosive, and I think it's going to be a tough time they're going to have stopping that, even though the Jets have an amazing defense. The Cowboys also do as well. And my way too early, I tweeted out, I might do a video soon, but way too early 2023 awards, I have Micah Parsons winning Defensive Player of the Year. And no doubt he is certainly capable of that. He showed you last year, and I think he'll be a force against the Jets. And again, I think the Jets are, Dallas can steal a win from New York. So moving off to New England, probably the worst team in the AFC East. I have the Jets winning this one. I think pretty easily. The Patriots, when we get to the video, I'll be get a more depth with that. But the Patriots aren't a good team in my opinion. I don't think they failed Mac Jones with surrounding him talent. You look at the AFC East, the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins, amazing talent offensively all over the board. For the Patriots, it's not nothing. The best weapon is maybe Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, I love him. Obviously, saw him as a Sooner, great player. But it's not enough to beat these teams. If you're looking at wide receiver, the best one is Juju Smith-Schuster. That's not saying much. I do like the signing with Mike Gesicki, but again, I just don't think New England has enough pieces to really rival any of these teams. Not to say, I'm sure, just as the season goes on, I'm sure they can steal a win from one of these teams. So I'm not throwing it out there. It's still a division game. It's going to be tough. But I have the Jets winning this one over New England. Starting off with Kansas City, I have a loss once again. The reigning Super Bowl champions, we already know how it is. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, they were unbelievable, especially with the first year without Tyreek Hill. Was number one in offense last year. Mahomes, of course, won regular season MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and of course winning the Super Bowl regardless. Unbelievable. I don't see a drop off whatsoever for the Chiefs. I think the Jets are going to have a handful at home for Kansas City, but I do have them losing on Sunday Night Football. Now next we move to the Denver Broncos. In this one, it's tough to try to figure out what type of Broncos team is this. Is this going to be last year's team where Russell Wilson it looked like he fell off a cliff. The team didn't respond well, even though they did have a great defense. The offense was just horrendous. Or are we going to get to what we expect with Sean Payton, amazing offensive mind, pair him up with Russell Wilson. I do think the Broncos will play better, but it's not sure. It's not a guarantee. But I do have the Jets winning this one. I want to say easily. I definitely think the Broncos will be a challenging team, but I do have the Jets winning this one away. Next, the game before the bye week, the Philadelphia Eagles. I have the Jets losing to the Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are no doubt between them and the 49ers the best team in the NFC, and they are very stacked. You can argue too in the NFL regardless. Very stacked. I love their defense, especially the draft picks they had this year. I made the trade for DeAndre Swift, though you don't know how he's going to be with his injury problems. But regardless, the offense is elite, no doubt. Still have a couple of years left in the offensive line, though it's aging. I just look at offensively: A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Again, DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny. I forgot about him too. Rashad Penny, Kenneth Gainwell. Good running back depth, and of course, more importantly, Jalen Hurts. I mean, that's the top priority right there. But I do have the Eagles beating the Jets in this one. Now we get to the bye week, pretty early, week 7. Kind of hoping, as a fan, or at least for your team, you probably want a little bit later. So they get a pretty early bye week, and starting off with, we are 3-3, which is not horrible. It's a very tough beginning of the season. Again, for Bills, Dallas, Chiefs, Eagles, potentially Broncos. It's a very tough first 6 weeks, and I don't think 3-3 is a horrible record. They're still in contention with the division. So now after the bye week, we have the New York Giants, Battle of the Big Apple. I do have the Jets winning this one. Simple fact is just the quarterback play. I'm not a big fan of Daniel Jones. I know he took a big step forward last year. It's just, we can all agree Aaron Rodgers is a much superior quarterback than Daniel Jones. But give a ton of credit to Brian Daboll. He's an amazing offensive mind, but I don't think it's going to be enough to beat the Jets. And I have the Jets winning this one against the Giants. Moving to the LA Chargers, Week 9, I do have the Jets beating the Chargers. Biggest concern is just the injuries on the offense for LA. Of course, we have Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. We don't know what's going to happen with Austin Eckler. Is there a chance he sits out? I don't know. There's still plenty of time for them to get a deal done, but we just don't know how things are going to play out with that. If he's just going to play the rest of the season on his final year of his deal. It's gonna be tough to see because that's a big factor, no doubt. Very underrated in my opinion. Austin Eckler, he's been amazing the last 2 seasons. That's on Monday Night Football. But even regardless, if you want to say best case scenario, everyone's there. I still think that the Jets win this one. I think the defenses will definitely do a good job against the Chargers because a big need or big glaring issue for the Chargers is the offensive line. I think they'll definitely disrupt Herbert and give him tons of problems. But I do have the Jets winning against the Chargers at home. So next we move to the Raiders on Sunday Night Football. I do have them winning this one as well. I just don't know what's going to happen with Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm sorry, I don't trust Josh McDaniels either. I don't think he's a great coach whatsoever. Brady made him. I don't even want to say he's a great offensive coordinator to even go that far. It's just Raiders, they're okay. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're not good enough. They're not horrible. They're not bad enough to have a top pick, but they're not good enough to make the playoffs. They're just a average, above average team. Worst team probably in the AFC West. So I think this should be a pretty, in my mind, a pretty easy win. though you have to worry about Devontae Adams, which it's going to be very interesting to see how that works out. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams being, playing on the opposite teams. It's definitely going to be an intriguing matchup to see Sauce Gardner and Devontae Adams, but overall, I think the Jets can really win this pretty easily. So next we have the rematch, the second game for the series against the Bills. I do have them losing to Buffalo to split the series 1-1. I think the Bills will get revenge from Week 1, losing on Monday Night Football. Again, it kind of goes back and forth. What I say with the Jets, I'm probably going to say for the Jets and then Miami. I can saw these teams splitting the series. It's gonna be that close in this division. You could argue it's the toughest division in the NFL. Another one rivaling that is the AFC West with Mahomes, Herbert. We'll see with Russell Wilson, with Sean Payton. Raiders, again, average, above average team, but they're not horrible. But for this one, I do have the Jets losing to the Bills, splitting the series 1-1. That's not horrible. That's worst case scenario. If one of these teams go 0-2 against each other, I think that's a pretty bad sign, and that's really going to cost the division. But for this one, I do have the Bills splitting the series and them losing. So next we have Week 12, not even easier compared to Week 11. The Miami Dolphins. I do have the Dolphins winning this one. High-powered offense, tons of speed. Defense not too crazy. They are good. I think at times they are underrated, but nothing spectacular in my opinion. Jets have a far superior defense. Offense definitely have tons of weapons. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Outside that, tight end not too crazy. They did let go of Mike Gesicki, but he didn't really fit into that Mike McDaniel scheme. But no doubt, it's again divisional rival and a pretty high-powered offense. We're not sure what's going to happen with the quarterbacks, if Tua is going to last long enough to be in Week 12. But again, we're doing best case scenario. If he is, last year he played unbelievable, and he showed that at times in games, especially I believe it was Week 2 against Baltimore, where he had over 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. So he is capable of that. I think you still have to respect him, regardless of the injury concerns. But I do have the Jets losing to Miami in this one. Easy game. Atlanta Falcons, I have the Jets easily winning this one. I don't know what's going to happen with the quarterbacks at this point. Desmond Ridder is for right now the starting quarterback. You also have Taylor Heineke. Either way, they should win this easily. Though they do have great young offensive pieces with Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and new rookie Bijan Robinson. But just again, how I said for the Giants, it's quarterback play. There's no question that Aaron Rodgers is far superior than Desmond Ridder or Taylor Heineke. So I have this as an easy one. The easiest game of the season for them, but nonetheless an easy one for them. So next I have the Houston Texans. I do have the Jets winning this one, and I went back and forth because originally when I looked at the list, I did have them losing to the Texans because I do consider this a upset. I think Houston is definitely a team that people should look out for. I think they'll make far improvements under DeMeco Ryans. I love the draft. Will Anderson, C.J. Stroud, the next franchise quarterback. Wide receivers, Tank Dell, Mechie, that missed his rookie season due to health concerns. Nico Collins, Robert Woods, Dalton Schultz. It's a pretty solid offensive group for a rookie quarterback. Defense, I think they'll take a step forward again under DeMeco Ryans. So I'm going to say this is going to be a pretty tough game. It's going to look like probably how it was for Kansas City last year, where it's Texans are going to have the lead for the good portion of it, and then the Jets will at the end will pull it off. But definitely look at this as definitely an upset alert in this one. Texans, I don't think people should laugh at them anymore. I think they will have compared to the last few seasons, a good season, especially for a first year for Ryans. But I do have the Jets surviving this one and beating Houston. So next we go to Miami. I do have them getting revenge from the first matchup in Week 12. I do have the Jets winning in Week 15 against the Dolphins. Week 16, I have the Jets winning this one as well. Same thing what I said for Atlanta. You do have great offensive pieces around, but it's Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett. We don't know who's going to be playing at that time. But once again, same logic. Aaron Rodgers is far superior than Sam Howell, even though Washington does have a great defense. This should be an easy win for the Jets. Next, we have Thursday Night Football against the Cleveland Browns. And actually, this one, I do have the Jets losing to the Browns. Just simple fact of, I think it's just Deshaun Watson. I think Deshaun Watson will have a bounce-back season. And definitely, can go head-to-head, no doubt, with any, if he can get back to his apex that I do believe he will, he can go head-to-head with anybody. And I think he will make just enough plays to outgun Aaron Rodgers and take him down on prime time. I don't think it's a huge loss. I can definitely see the Jets winning this one, but I don't think this is something where you should be disappointed about if you lose to the Browns. They will be a much better team as they were last year. So I'm wrapping up the season. I do have the Bills, or not Bills, still stuck on the first episode. I have the Jets beating New England, sweeping the Patriots. This is the easiest team in the division. What I just said, going back to what I said for week 3, they just don't have the pieces to rival anybody. Could they steal one from the Jets? Absolutely. They can probably do it to anyone else. Miami and Buffalo. I won't be shocked if they can steal one game from the division. But I have the Jets sweeping the Patriots in this one. And then, of course, splitting the series between the Jets, or the Dolphins, and the Bills. So to wrap it all up, I do have the New York Jets going 11-6. I think that's a pretty fair record, in my opinion. No doubt that's amazing, amazing jump from the last few seasons, and of course, probably the best since 2016 when they went 10-6 and was just one game shy of making the playoffs with Fitzpatrick. But no doubt, this is definitely, as a Jets fan, you should be very excited about this. If it's how it goes, 11-6 will certainly get you in the playoffs, and who knows. But as of right now, I have the Bills winning the division. As of right now, we'll see how my predictions go for the Dolphins and the Patriots. But as of right now, I do have the Bills, of course, going 12-5, and the New York Jets going 11-6. Again, I think a very reasonable record that the Jets can go. If you want to argue some of the wins, maybe you can say, hey, they can beat Cleveland, Houston. If you want to give them that puts them up to, if I have my math right, 13-4, and that put them first in the division as of right now. If you want to say that, I won't argue with that. You said Cleveland and Houston should be wins, but I do think down the stretch, and just for any teams, even for the Bills and stuff, I do think there'll be teams that will steal one. Even though the Jets should be, huge favorites in them, I do think there'll be teams that will snatch a win from them and knock them down a little bit. But again, if you want to say maybe 13-4, I wouldn't think that's entirely crazy. But I think 11-6 is a very reasonable and a very fair analysis on their season. But that's going to wrap it up here for my thoughts on the Jets. Like I said, again, I have them going 11-6 as of right now, second in the division, so that leave them in a wild card spot. But regardless, I do believe the Jets will make the playoffs this year, and it could be a scary team in the playoffs. Depending on who they match up week 1, or in the wild card. But no doubt, looking on paper, an elite defense, great offensive pieces around Aaron Rodgers, and of course the big name, Aaron Rodgers being the new franchise quarterback. There's going to be a ton of pressure on them, but I think they will live up to that. And no doubt, again, I think 11-6 is a great first start under the Rodgers era, depending on how long that lasts, but a great first season, no doubt. But that's going to wrap it up here. Let me know your thoughts down below on my predictions for the New York Jets, if you think they will go 11-6 or you think they'll do better or worse. But with that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.